Downtown San Angelo, right across the street from the wonderful cleaned up Concho River that flows better than the San Antonio River. And we have a real river walk, right? Anyway, live from the ArcLight. I am joined here, of course, with my co-host, Yantis Green, the senior sage of San Angelo politics. And then in the middle here, in the sandwich position, is Commissioner Precinct 3, Rick Bacon, who you have served our county for over a decade. And you were as appointed in 13, you ran in 14?
Right.
Okay.
Unexpired term, and then 2 years later had to run for the full term. So.
And the biggest thing you did was you made sure our jail wasn't a disaster when we built a new one.
That's right.
Anyway, he's a numbers
Very
man.
involved with that project. Yes,
You've been a numbers man all this time, and kind of kept the judges straight.
Oh.
Isn't that right, Elaine Carter? Elaine Carter's back out there.
Yeah.
But congratulations, you won re-election tonight.
Yes. I want to.
What was your?
All,
And we look at, I don't know, we had to flip through that the slideshow, but we'll get to it in a minute.
Sure.
We haven't gotten the updated numbers from the elections office. They have not released them yet, so we're still waiting on election day voting numbers to see exactly how San Angelo voted, but you had enough early votes to blow it away. So anyway.
Hope so.
What are you looking for the next 4 years?
Well, let's talk broadband. You wanted to talk broadband earlier
Back in the old
this
days.
year.
In fact, this right here, this show right here, that we're remotely live streaming from a remote location, not our office. We don't have, our office has 1 gig up, 1 gig down fiber. We don't necessarily have that here. We almost have it here.
That's right.
Eventually we'll get it here. But the fact that we're able to broadcast from a remote location from here is a good thing. But if you remember during the judges race that, Lane was there in 2022, we tried to broadcast from the VFW, from the Fort Concho stables, from the Riverview restaurant over there with the high-rise condominiums. None of those places you could broadcast from because the internet sucked. It's
Pretty
not.
much.
So what do you got for broadband?
No. Well, of course, the broadband initiative, there's a statewide initiative, there's a large initiative. They have actually a broadband office now, the broadband development office from the state. I've been working with the Council of Governments for about the past year to make sure that we get that remote access out to these outlying counties like Sterling, Coke, Concho, those guys. And so we had a meeting earlier today, and I think we're on the road to getting some RFPs together so that on this next round of money that comes out, our counties will be ready to take hold of that and maybe move forward with it.
Well, a lot of things that the counties do depends on broadband. Think about all your storage you have to pay for your court cases. All the evidence and things like that, all that stuff gets scanned in. Or the videos that the prosecutor downloads from Facebook.
Our sheriff's department loves to download all of the cell phone, not just the files that they need.
Right.
So it takes up a lot of bandwidth.
Yeah, and they have to keep that for so many years for evidence.
Still the case, and then some of them, it's you have to keep them forever. So,
and then some of these services now, they're cloud-based, and they want you to pay them a monthly fee.
One of the things that we're going to be doing at the county over the next year is we're going to be transitioning some of our software over to the cloud-based, just because it's finally gotten to where it's a little cheaper to try to go to the cloud, and it's more secure than trying to maintain it in-house. And so we're going to be making some pretty big changes on that.
Yantis, you'll like this because both of us have worked the docket on the courts. One of the things that I've noticed, I've been doing a lot of news reporting from Lubbock County, so I get to compare and contrast. The access to court documents and the open access that we have as a news media organization is superior to Lubbock County.
Oh, really?
Lubbock County is impossible to get any information. I'll give you an example. I'll go down to the district clerk's office every once in a while when I get bored, and I'll look up civil cases. I think it's important for people to know who's suing who and for what and how much. That gives.
That's kind of news.
And also it gives people kind of an idea how busy our court system is. They're dealing with with all these civil cases. So I'll look through it and I can just, click on whatever I need, download it and email it to myself from the computer there at the thing. In Lubbock County, I have to go request a list of all the civil cases for like the last 6 weeks. I have to study it to figure out which one I might want to get them to download, hand them a thumb drive, and then they have some clerk go and put it on a thumb drive.
Very interesting.
So it's not accessible, and they have a company called Tyler Technology, so don't hire them if they come to you.
Actually, that's who we have.
Oh my God!
That's
Oh
who
no!
it is. It's Tyler.
Do we have Tyler Technologies?
Yes.
Well,
Yes.
I'm blaming them for this thing, but apparently Lubbock County had a proprietary system for many years, and they had trouble importing the old stuff into the new stuff and that kind of thing.
Yes.
So they're behind.
And the conversion is not just a simple moving of the data.
You can't just drag the mouse kind of thing. So.
Well, and of course, as commissioner, the big part of what you do is that criminal justice system, but you also have other stuff, and Precinct 3 is one of those that wraps around the northern. It's the northwestern
entire
quadrant.
northwest part of the
He's
county.
got the North Concho River.
I feel like I'm a true county commissioner because the majority of my constituents do actually live in the county,
Yeah,
not
they
in the
actually
city.
live in the county.
So
And
most
you-
of my votes come from there. So it's a little rewarding on that when someone calls in, I get to actually help them with some things. And but we
Usually
still
involving
deal with the city.
livestock?
So every once in a while, we get a loose cow or goat out on the road, and we have to call. And
Well,
usually I'll call the sheriff, and they come help me wrangle the thing.
Well, this last week though, it was water and too much of it.
This last week we had
Just
a lot
in
of
Great
water
Creek.
just in northwestern Tom Green County. I mean, literally, it landed right between 67 and 80, or 277 and 87, which is my precinct. And this week we've been trying to catch up. We've had a little bit of flooding. We had a few homes that got some water in them, but for the most part, I think everybody survived it pretty good.
You don't need to have disaster relief?
No,
No,
it's
that's
not going to be quite that bad.
not that bad.
Well,
I don't think we have enough that we could actually qualify for that out of just one section
Yeah,
of
it's
the
one-
county.
Very concentrated.
You ever notice when we're following, you always used to write the terrible weather stories in the morning?
Yeah.
That never came true. Not my fault, it's him.
No.
But anyway, you ever notice when they done come true, it's because it all went north. It all went through Rick Bacon's area.
Yeah, it all-
Great Creek
went
and
through Great
Water
Creek.
Valley.
I'm catching a lot from the other three commissioners because we're not sharing the water.
Not sharing the rain.
That's
About a
right.
month ago,
Well,
we got
you-
11 inches in 3 days, and then we get another 5 inches in about 2 hours on Friday. So it's
Well,
been,
what do you
it's
think-
been interesting.
What do you think if Trump can pull this out, we don't know yet because it's still early and they haven't called any of the battleground states yet, although it looks promising. What do you think would look like for the county versus if Vice President Harris wins? That's a hard question.
Yes.
I mean, you get a lot of extra money with a
naturally,
Democrat, don't you? The Democrats in charge, y'all got all that COVID money.
We did. But it's a simple fact that you can't drop $6 billion on the economy and
$6
not
trillion.
expect, or $6 trillion and not expect it to cause inflation.
Right.
And pretty poor
Well,
economic out there. Now, we appreciated it. We took that money and we used it for our volunteer fire departments. We used it for our outside of the city limit water departments.
Right.
They all got money from that. We tried to help them out on that. We helped several other areas in the county that needed help, even with some of our civic organizations. And so, I mean, we put it to very good use on that. But it was quite a call when the treasurer called up and said, "Hey, I just looked at the bank account today, and we've got $15 million that we didn't have yesterday. Where did that come from?"
But on the other side of the thumb, whenever you go to budgets and everyone needs 10, 15, 20% pay raises to stay even with where they were 5 years ago on your
can't do that.
payroll.
Yeah, we can't do that.
Your payroll gets really a lot of pressure on her because people need more money. I think inflation's probably gone up for the last 4 years, what, 15%?
I will say, overall it's around 12 in the last 3
that what it
years,
is?
around
12%.
12%. And so, that's tough on us. I mean, we can't give 12% pay raises.
Right.
And on top of that, our legislature has capped us at 3.5% increase over the previous year.
Which is a good thing,
So
isn't it?
that helps keep taxes down.
It
but
does.
Also, it also, we're a service organization, and when you come to the clerk's office to get that information, or you want to get that information off the internet, you expect it to be there, right?
Right.
Well, if we don't have the money to pay for that, it's not going to be there.
Well, I think the bigger thing is that we don't have enough prosecutors to prosecute all the crime. If we can't pay, if we can't pay for our 14 murder trials, we have a crime problem, and we don't stay on top of it,
Well,
things will get out of control.
But in the county's defense on that, there's a cooperative with the state, and on the capital murder trials, we don't always have to foot the full bill on that because we participate with the cooperative,
Right.
and so that eases that pressure
Right.
quite a bit. On top of that, we've got some other things that we go on with, some agreements that we have with Shannon on the medical side
Right.
of it that also help us not have to put aside as much money to cover Medicare costs, because a lot of
Right.
people don't understand that those indigent people that go to the hospital expects to get paid for that.
The Medicaid cost stuff on
Medicaid
that.
doesn't always cover it, and so
Yeah.
the counties have to.
The other thing Shannon's done is they've lowered the cost of prescription drugs at the jail by like 10 grand a month. I mean,
We're very fortunate that they've agreed to help. And that's one of the things that I probably am most proud of with our jail is the fact that our inmates will get good medical care.
Right.
And we've got a good medical team out there, and I appreciate what Shannon has done to help with that. And they always come in trying to keep those costs and keep them down.
Right.
And we really appreciate that.
right. Well, Yantis, what do you think?
Well, the only other thing I would say is coming down the pike is that new bypass for the interstates. It's going to come through Precinct 3.
Yeah, the other thing to talk about, is transportation. I serve with the mayor on the I-27 advisory committee, and so we have a northern relief route that is proposed to come around town, which is to help get that traffic out of going right through the middle of town on Beauregard.
Right? Bryant?
Bryant and Abe. And so
that's 87,
long range,
277
but that's
going
87 to 277 on the northern side. And
So
but
where
there's
are they going to
also
build it? They're going to build it
I-27
around
down.
the east side over in Loop 306?
So part of the I-27 corridor is to take that 277 south through Christoval.
Okay.
So they'll be looking at that 87, 277 intersection. That's probably going to get completely redesigned in the future as
And
well.
then where are they going to route the traffic? Around the east side of town?
Right.
And
It'll,
then-
it'll go from the north to the east and then south.
And when the north side is, you got a route that's going to go parallel to FM 2105, getting back to 87, right?
Right.
Is that the way it is?
Yeah, it'll go from 87 over to 277. Basically, it's going to follow the transmission line that LCRA has.
Right.
And they're going to kind of mirror that to help with keeping that access right-of-way and keep them cut down, try to reduce the amount of right-of-way property that has to be purchased for that.
All right, I got one more thing before we let you go.
Okay.
We have a lot of wrecks on 2105. 2105 and
2105 and
87.
87.
And also 2105 and Grape Creek Road. I mean, I don't know if that's in your
Well,
precinct.
we've made some improvements there. We put rumble strips down. TxDOT put up some flashing stop signs on that. That's improved a little bit. We've been talking with TxDOT on kind of what to do at 87. Of course, we also just had a fatal accident there at March Road in
Right.
87.
Right.
Yeah.
Everything happens in Precinct 3, of course.
Yeah, well,
But,
that's
so-
the fastest they go through the county is up to
Exactly,
87.
right through there. But so anyway, we'll be talking with TxDOT to try to see what we can do to improve that. I was talking with TxDOT recently on the 87 2105, and that's a tough nut to crack. You've got the access road coming in there
Right.
as well. It doesn't look like putting the signal up there is going to be the best option for that. They're hoping that the bypass, the relief route, will help relieve some of that traffic from there. Therefore, they're not really looking to put an overpass there right now. So there's a lot of factors with the fact that you've got the access road and the highway right there together.
Right.
It's tough nut to crack. So but
That's
we're
probably
looking at it. We're certainly looking at
when
it.
you hear people talk around town, that's one of the biggest things they talk about in your precincts at 2105 at US 87.
Yep. It
Anyway,
is.
thank
So
you
we're
for
looking
coming
at it.
on. We're gonna
Hey,
get
thank
the,
you
we're gonna
for
get the
having
sheriff
me.
on. We
Hey, listen, I
appreciate it.
just got to say one thing right quick, and that is I want to thank my wife, Linda
Oh,
Bacon.
Linda Bacon.
She was my campaign manager and treasurer for this.
And she
for this
walked- and
election.
she walked every
And
house.
so she knocked on every door, and no, but she did everything, and I wouldn't be the success I am without her. And I just want to give her credit for that. All right.
Thank you, sir.
All
Appreciate
right.
it.
Appreciate you. You take
All
care.
right.
Always a
We
pleasure.
get Sheriff Nick
Anytime.
Hanna. Come on down. The price is right. Get you this way. Sheriff Nick Hanna, aka the tall drink of water from Tombstone. Did you hear us talking about you about 2 live streams ago?
Well, no, I didn't. What was I'm more of a Lonesome Dove guy than a Tombstone guy.
Lonesome Dove. We were talking about in Tombstone that scene in the bar where the actress, I can't remember her name, but the actress was saying, you know, who is that tall drink of water over there as he points to Wyatt Earp? And eventually, you know, someone says that he's an oak and he doesn't fall or something. But anyway, so I always call you the tall drink of water, just like Wyatt Earp, the real quintessential Texas Ranger.
Well, thanks for the compliment.
Anyway, you've done a good job this year with your budget. We all want to know how you managed to fully staff that jail, or is it fully staffed?
Well, the jail, it's not been fully staffed.
It's your patrol.
Our patrol was fully staffed. We've lost. I was feeling really good about it, and we've lost 2, and I think we're looking at a 3rd one's on the ropes. So we'll keep fighting. We actually swore in a new deputy this morning, Jimmy Torres. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah.
But a retired DPS guy, CID, firearms instructor. He's destined for courthouse security. A good in-shape guy. So we're happy. 2-step. It's kind of like dancing. 2 steps
So you're
forward.
saying you have an in-shape courthouse security guy now. I can't outrun him.
Well, that is true. And I'm not saying the other ones are not in shape. Just don't draw the conclusion to that.
How's the crime in Tom Green County? Up, down, or about the same? What do you think the citizens are thinking?
Well, they're probably thinking there's too much crime, and there probably is. But our guys are pretty active. We seem like we're working on some sexual assaults. We've got some warrants coming on those. There's been a couple of pursuits. I don't know if you've been in town lately, but we've had a couple of pursuits. We've got those guys identified. We're working on rounding those guys up.
Well, I remember there's one that kind of the other day ended up in front of the Webb, Stokes and Sparks law office on Beauregard.
Yes.
Harris.
Yes, and we have him identified. We're looking for him. So
That was a stolen car out of Claiborne.
hey, I did the press release on that.
You did?
Yeah. Did you see it?
I don't know if I
Okay.
did or not.
All right. Tried to give you a heads up on that. You're so busy, you can't get over. I don't know where you are. Lubbock here.
Yeah, you just never know where I'm going to be. Or
It's,
being a bartender, you know.
And this place is. I walked in and I'm impressed.
You like
I haven't
this
been in
place?
this building, and it just
I
had a great
was too.
feel.
I didn't
yeah.
even know this room was here.
Yeah, and then
But
the
have you,
hotel is
have
so
you-
nice.
but have you tasted the chicken wings?
No, I didn't. I haven't tasted them. I thought I was getting some complimentary wings for being a guest speaker. And
Yeah, there you
I
go.
haven't got
There
those
you
yet.
Dude, we're still a startup. So.
Yeah. Well, you could be a tax write-off with
Oh,
Kamala.
Yeah. Well, it really depends. I got into this with a couple of partners with the thought that my gut told me Trump was going to win, but my brain was saying that he's not. That's
Well,
kind of how I've been.
If you,
I went with my gut.
yeah, just don't go to sleep, because last time when we went to sleep,
Yes.
it was looking good, and then when we woke up, it was not looking good. So I'm going to have to stay awake all night.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, we might have to. We might have to, like, I don't know, start drinking Red Bull. I mean, we got plenty of it. I have a fridge of it back there if y'all need some Red Bull.
You know, I've never had a Red Bull that I had one, and it just didn't set well. So I guess just give me some coffee.
There you
from,
go.
Well, back when I was a parent and I had to drive with the band, be the band parent, going to from Christoval to Brownwood, this little kid, he probably weighed no more than 45 pounds, went into the Stripes when the bus stops at the Stripes halfway between to get snacks. He came out with a 32-ounce Red Bull, and he drank the whole thing. I was like, as a parent, if I watch this and he dies and he, codes out, am I responsible? So I kind of like, what I did was I gave him a little fear, sarcasm, and ridicule until he wouldn't drink the rest of it. He drank a little, he drank a lot of it. I mean, I don't understand it because I can't, it makes me too nervous.
I think it's a generational thing. Like if you're over like 32, you probably shouldn't have a Red Bull.
You know who drinks a lot of Red Bull on my staff is Ryan Chadwick. He drinks all the Red Bull. I mean, there's Red Bull everywhere. The cans left everywhere. They make good spittoons.
Well, I have a lieutenant, Bill Kirkland. He walks in. He always has 2 or 3 drinks, and then it's like weird. I'm like, dude, you're supposed to keep your hands free in case you've got to respond to something.
Yantis, you're supposed to keep us on to politics, not Red Bull.
I was going to say that there is a presidential election today, and immigration is a big part of that. And looking at the daily jail log, on a regular basis, there are ice holes.
When you say ice holes, that's immigration customs.
Immigration customs. Yeah. Those are illegals in our jail.
Yes, we do hold them. They're really good at picking them up. The ICE is usually a night or 2, and then they take them most of the time to El Paso. So when a couple of years ago, we didn't have that.
We didn't see any.
And people would ask me how many illegal immigrants are in our jail, and I would say 0.
Yeah.
And even one year, I remember maybe 2021, 2020, we had like 3 for the year, a very nominal amount. But now we'll have 3 a week sometimes. The thing is we've got the room now since COVID.
Right.
We're not backed up on our numbers. We're averaging about 485. We have 552 beds.
Yeah.
So the federal government compensates us for those rooms. It's not a lot. I will tell you, we don't really go out and seek their business, the feds' business.
Yeah.
But they come get them, they pick them up, and off they go.
Well, and one of the reasons I asked is because small counties like Sutton County, Sonora, and Schleicher County, El Dorado, they have bailouts on a pretty regular basis. So we're just up the pipeline, up 277.
We are. There's something about Interstate 10 that seems to stop about 80% of that for some reason. And I talked to our counterparts in Crockett County and Sutton County, and they have bailouts and issues with fences. And we have the occasional incident. Merchant had a pursuit the other day that came this way with some, and we got involved in that. But overall, we're pretty blessed, pretty fortunate in Congressman County. I'd like to say it's something we're doing, but it's really not. It's just geography.
Well, and one of President Trump's talking points has been mass deportation. And I'm just curious how that's going to work.
Well, you and I would both like to know how that's going to work.
Well, you have a lot of new Ford Cruisers. You can put at least 2 illegals in the back of the Ford Cruiser, the Ford Interceptors, right?
I don't think that's going to fall to the Tom Green County Sheriff's Office.
You might get the contract.
Well, we might. I guess we could consider.
You can buy one of the yellow dogs from the school district.
We do have an impressive transport bus if you've ever seen it at the courthouse. I think it'll haul 46, I think.
46.
So, sometimes on court days when you go over there, you see the guys in the oranges getting out. So it's a good transport bus. They bought that when we built the new jail out there.
Yeah, and I tried to talk the county judge, Steve Floyd, into selling advertising for that bus and getting Joe Hyde to San Angelo Live to
get on there?
Live on the prison bus. So when it's parked outside the jail, outside the courthouse on those.
Yantis, they already hate me enough. We don't need to have San Angelo Live on the jail bus. But
he wouldn't go for it for some reason. I don't know what the deal was.
Before we go, we were talking about Prop A for San Angelo ISD and how they're going to use some of that money for security. They're actually paying for a couple of billets at the San Angelo Police Department. What is the Sheriff's Office doing here with Cristobal ISD, Grape Creek ISD, Water Valley ISD, all the independent rural school districts for protection?
Okay, a couple things on Prop A. Number one, we do service a couple schools inside the city of San Angelo.
Okay.
We do.
Is the county going to get any money out of the school district for that?
No, it's an independent contract. We do an MOU with the schools, and so our guys they contract, and so the salary is a fair salary for our guys to work some part-time work. In the counties, we only do security at special events when requested football games, basketball games, or big public events. They'll call us. Each school in our county are guardian schools, which means it has armed teachers. And so we've stood up, one of the things that we've done with House Bill 3 and some of the mandates that come from the state is we're setting up a threat assessment team. It's called the Concho Valley Threat Assessment Team, and we're doing that in conjunction now with the police department. We're required to have 2 sheriff's meetings every year with the schools and with the superintendents to cover these things. And so one of the things that has developed is we're setting up the Concho Valley Threat Assessment Team. Okay. It includes our county and a few surrounding counties. But what that does is that relieves the burden of identifying a threat off of one entity.
Right.
And so you have professionals from every field. If we see a threat, we have our mental health folks look at it, our law enforcement folks look at it, our counselors look at it, and we start evaluating, is this a legitimate threat, or social media. And, you have to be very proactive. So we're very proactive in confronting those threats. There's been some students learn some hard lessons that this isn't the thing to be jacking around with. If you start making those comments, you're going to get a knock at the door. Yep. Your parents are not going to be very happy, and we're going to vet that person. We're going to go in there and make sure they don't have access to firearms, and they're going to regret that decision. And that's, a lot of times in law enforcement, we want to be proactive, and but our hands are kind of tied. Right. But this is one area that is too important for us to have our hands tied. We have to be able to respond. And I've worked school shootings. I understand the dynamics and how that affects the community, and so we certainly do not want that here. We have our share of issues, but we've been fortunate. We're going to be proactive with the threat assessment team, with the PDs. The PD's actually taken the lead role, as they should, because they're going to have the majority of the calls, being in the city, the biggest. But we're glad to partner with them. So that's what we're doing in keeping schools safe. In so many schools now, their stop-it programs and their alarm systems and their fencing is getting a little better every year. When we first started, it was kind of a big conundrum and a big, huge vacuum of information that people had to go through and figure out.
I remember when they started
set this up. Yeah,
I remember when they started teaching the students how to handle firearms, and people were freaking out. Are you serious? Now it's kind of natural, normal for a rural school to do that. So.
Well, yeah, I remember when I was growing up, everybody had a
you had a headache rack.
Headache rack, yeah. And you weren't cool if you didn't have 2 or 3.
That's right.
But you left your truck unlocked too. So
and no one called it in.
Right. And that's one reason this presidential election is so important, is because everybody knows the perception of the 2 candidates is very different between the 2 candidates. And the talking points are interesting. I always find in campaigns, and how
well, we're looking to see if we got any new data from the elections office. Nothing.
We're watching the live stream now.
Oh, you're watching them count votes. You can watch them count votes on the county website.
When I got to go there for the elections, the good thing about there is they usually have pretty good snacks. They have some cookies and coffee. So I don't get to go on my election cycle. I have to go on the off cycle.
Yeah, that's right. Especially when you're up for re-election without any competition.
Well, a lack of options is
Well, Sheriff Nick Hanna, thank you for being on our show with us, and I hope Trump wins. I do.
Well,
I know you can't say it because you're going to do the Lane Carter. I'm a judicial officer. I can't promote anyone.
No. I think this country needs Donald Trump.
All right. I like it.
Yeah.
I think he does too.
I've got it's good to be up for a second term for the citizens of this county. I appreciate that. We want to have a fair election. So I am thankful to be going again. I think we're doing a lot of good at the sheriff's office. I appreciate my wife, Kelly, and she's a counselor. She's a school bus driver, too, in addition to other duties. So
Does she drive the fancy bus or the yellow dog?
It's what would be known as a yellow dog, but
It's not the short bus, is it?
they have a governor on that bus.
Governor
so it
on
can't
the
go
bus?
So fast, yeah.
So you can control her speed.
You know, that's probably
Yeah.
good
Yeah, it is
because
good.
Kelly's probably pretty wild when she drives.
Oh, she's the worst. Yeah.
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 I mean, I know my wife's pretty wild when she drives.
Oh, you know.
Yeah. In
they-
fact,
they're-
she's not even listening.
no.
You know,
she's not.
not totally. I mean, this room has got millions of people in here. But anyway,
Yeah, I
we're
was
live
amazed.
from the ArcLight Bar and Grill inside the Clarion Hotel. Next up is Shawn, Nanny, Commissioner for Precinct 4, down there on the southwest side.
Not
You
sure
know,
where- oh, there he is. Yeah.
and what we tried to do is, I told Shawn, I said, you're going to come out to the sheriff, so wear a bigger hat. Anyway, Nick, Hanna, thank you for coming on.
Thank you.
We're both getting old. Thanks, sir. Come on up.
My fan club's here.
You have a fan club? All right, Yantis, did he get a bigger hat than the sheriff?
Well, let's see, that mission accomplished.
I think you did it.
Am I done?
Yeah, that's all we wanted to see, if you were going to wear a bigger hat than the sheriff. Does the judge let you wear your hat during commissioner's court?
No,
He doesn't?
I've never tried.
Man, Lane Carter is he is such a school marm. He won't let you wear a hat in court.
Wouldn't be
can't believe-
polite.
Anyway, just kidding, Lane. I like to heckle the guys in the audience. And Lane's the only guy I can see on this side because of all the blinding lights.
Yeah.
But anyway, this is Shawn, Nanny. He's Precinct 4 County Commissioner. You were elected 2 years ago.
Yes, sir.
How's it been? How's the ride?
It's been wild. The analogy they give is drinking from a fire hydrant, and I'm starting to tone it down a little bit and absorb.
Have you fixed the Mineral Wells crossing?
We're in the process, and I know people here get tired of hearing that, but we are diligently and actively working on a remedy for that.
Yantis, you said that the Mineral Wells crossing could never be fixed.
Well, I said it's been a problem for every previous commissioner since the 80s, every time it rains.
Every time it rains.
When I was commissioner, it was a drought, so I didn't have a problem with it.
Well, but the stars have aligned. There has been some luck involved with ARPA funds and flood mitigation programs.
When you say ARPA funds, is that COVID money?
Yes,
The COVID money from the Inflation Reduction Act.
yes. But
So-
hey, it paid for some engineering and design work for a bridge at Mineral Wells.
All right, so they're looking to actually building a bridge?
Yes,
All right. Over the Concho River there.
yes,
Wow.
Well, that's a seriously good solution. That's what needs to happen there.
yes.
In the meantime, have you fixed the emergency routing?
No, the gentleman that owns that property does not want anybody crossing his property, and I believe in private property rights, and I'll never support any type of eminent domain across somebody else's private property, whether you own half an acre or 5 million.
Yeah. All right, next issue. That's Mineral Wells Crossing. How is the park situation? I mean, Mineral Wells Crossing is part of the parks. I know you came up with some new rules this year, right? To keep,
Yes, sir. At Mineral Wells, we no longer allow overnight camping. I can't remember the hours, but I believe they're 6 a.m. to 11. You're free to enjoy the park, fish, float in the river, whatever, but we just don't allow overnight camping. It creates a little danger. There'd be a lot of vehicles there, people trying to get across that narrow low water crossing, and it just wasn't a safe situation. Now with Pew Park, we did finish that project. There was a grant I inherited through the Texas Parks and Wildlife. We were able to recoup $500,000 for the county. The project was completed, signed off on, and it looks great, I think. We'll continue to improve it
and of course,
slowly.
if you want to enjoy Pew Park, it's out Toenail Trail, kind of across from the Cristobal High School.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Right there on the Concho River.
Yes, sir. Beautiful live oak trees, and got new picnic tables, barbecue pits, a pavilion, walking trail, butterfly garden. Don't forget that.
Well, we talk a lot about history, Shawn, and one of the historic things we talk about is what did the land look like back in 1883?
Right.
And this is becoming kind of, you talked about this several times with me, about a way to get more water is to eradicate some of these plants that suck up all the water, like mesquite trees.
Yes.
Just give us the 30-second elevator pitch on that.
Okay, back in the 50s, when this area was in a dire drought, John Cargyle and some other landowners out Arden Road went together and they grubbed the mesquite off of 50 sections, which is 50 square miles.
Okay.
And during the drought, the old springs started flowing again. Those mesquite trees suck that much water out of the ground. Something as big as my wrist will pull 30, 35 gallons a day out of the
So a
ground.
mesquite tree with a trunk size as big as your wrist will pull 30, 35 gallons a day
Right.
out of the ground?
And you just look out your window. It's
Yeah.
everywhere.
Yeah.
So knowing that our population is growing and it's not raining like it used to, we've got to be proactive, and I would love to have brush clearing of biblical proportions. From here, if we cleared a lot here, it would help not only us, but everybody downstream, so to speak, between here and the Gulf of Mexico. Tourism in the hill country would benefit, and South Texas on the Frio, all of that would benefit.
Okay, so I would say I agree with you that we should get rid of mesquite trees, or at least reduce them significantly. I don't know if you had to pretty much get rid of them because they're just going to reproduce.
Well, you gotta
Or better
keep a
management.
check on it.
Well, and
So
that's sort of been the sticking point in the past. You know, Rob Janelle got a lot of money for that, and a lot of ranches participated. But the state part of it was the initial clearing, and it was very difficult to maintain what they'd cleared.
Right, there needs to be some follow-up
Got to
money.
have the follow-up money there.
Because I know my land is probably sucking 700-800 gallons a day out of the ground.
right.
I mean,
And that's really not an exaggeration.
yeah, it's not exaggeration.
No.
You go and just count the
Yeah,
risks
Yes.
out there in the yard.
yes.
But where would you think to do it? Would you do it on county land, or would you get a big landowner to agree to clear a section?
Well, you could get them to agree, but the funding is what's
Yeah.
slowing us down. But yeah, I would like to see Washington County school land, for example, right out here by Lake Nasworthy. The base, there's a lot of land there, in any county-owned land. And I mean, I know it's a drop in the bucket, but a drop's a drop when you're thirsty.
To get started on it. Anyway, what else you got? I noticed that a lot of the roads out there in Precinct 4 are getting repaved,
Yes, sir.
which
Seal-
is saving me money on shock absorbers.
Yes, sir. We're trying to do about 14 or 15 miles a year of seal coating, and to keep the price down, we try to stay in one localized area, so you're not having to mobilize and move all the equipment. We did a lot there around Knickerbocker this year. We'll do some more this year. We'll finish up in Dove Creek. We'll do Gwynn Road. We'll do Bryant Circle over at our western boundary against Erie County, and I think there's 86 miles of paved road in Precinct 4. We did 14 or 15 miles last year. Did another about that this year, and we'll just keep trudging forward.
Keep trudging forward. All right. Trump going to win tonight?
Absolutely.
Really? So you're a Trumpster, huh?
Oh, yes.
You know what I wanted to do? Is get a flagpole and put the Trump flag on there.
Yeah?
And the Buck Biden one. Both of them. But my wife said you can't put the Buck Biden one up there because we have children who live in the neighborhood.
Oh, okay.
Is that mean or what? I don't
You got to
know.
listen to your wife.
Yeah, you gotta listen to it. But anyway, Shawn, Nanny, Precinct 4 County Commissioner. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate you having me.
Yantis?
Well, we do appreciate you coming, and good luck in the future. And I can't wait to see what you get done at Mineral Wells Crossing.
I gave everybody my word I'd work on it, and I'm getting there.
And we'll do a check real quick. Banda, how are we looking at returns? Anything coming out of the county office? Nothing. So we're kind of at a standstill on the results coming in. We're going to come back on when we get more results. So that's where we're at right now. So y'all stay tuned to Facebook, X, and YouTube. where we'll live stream these things from. We're live from the ArcLight Bar and Grill inside the Clarion Hotel at 441 Rio Concho. This is the first time we've done this remote thing. What do you think?
I like it.
Is it pretty good? All right. We'll see you on let's say 30 minutes to an hour. We'll see you back here. Until then,